it is like a conversation. But really amazing stuff. And the meditations, large passages of the meditations used to be required for students to recite back in the early United States and even before the United States was formed. That was part of.
Well, I tell you guys something about it's funny that Bobby. I keep thinking about Bobby so much. You remember my friend, but he was the only Catholic guy in that psychoanalysis cult, and like the fact that I was. He said to me, it was interesting. Like he said that he was this idea that someone would become interested in such things. I told him, Bobby, like, don't like have like, man, that's amazing. Like you weren't raised, you were raised like sort of like whatever. Like I don't know what my family like. Well, of course we were Jewish, but no, but like wasn't raised with this spirituality. Really, was raised in some sense like materialist. Like to speak. Like when I read Marx, I was like, well, that's interesting. My dad was a Marxist. But I mean, that's because he owned a corporation. it turns out like about Marxism, like what they're calling Marxism. Like, well, I don't know what Marxism's like a slam you give because it's like alright, meaning like when we say it, like on the Facebook, about Obama. What it means, we're saying like, oh, it's someone who's like wakes up every morning saying like, hey, maybe today's the day we're in capitalism. And they go to bed depressed, like it's slamming against organized labor. But no, in all seriousness, like what is like Marxism? Meaning like what is the tech? Like when you read it, it's boring. I mean, it's boring, but it's boring. But if you read and read and read and read like thousands of pages, and it's like, oh, like that. That's so interesting. Like that's right. Reality is Marxist. How interesting! Like, and then you just start from there, and then it's like everything just starts to become clear. And you can go any way you want. You can be a Republican, a right winger, a statist, a Buddhist, a communist. You can do whatever you want. Like, but it turns out that like, so for some reason at this time, like, reality is Marxist. But do it that what you want, like George Bush in that situation, right? I mean, right? Doing the right thing. It's interesting. It's interesting that the Republican Party often operates in a sort of a Stalinist mode, but it's like, Francis Parker thought like the Stalinists were great. He said they finally thought he really ridded Russia of like the Jewish sort of influence under Stalin. He's like that guy was kind of like a good Catholic. Like he finally ridded him of the Jewish influence under Stalin. He thought the communists and the far right wing fascists like should merge and fight like whatever liberalism is, like some kind of Jewish like menace or something. I mean, this thing about the far left and the far right like merging against like what these sort of like coordinated classes doing in like the Austin rigs. Those are frightening people. And they don't know what they are. That's part of it. Like if everything there's like what they call the wave of like anti-Semitism, it's not directed against you, sister, or me. We're Jewish, but not like that. There is this other breed that like what they're doing, like it's not like inconsistent and unintegrated and egotistical, but like there is this like baby boom affluent 60s person like who says they're Jewish but they're not. Like it's a synagogue of Satan. Like that turns out to be true. Apparently this time like there are like Jewish Nazis. Like I don't know. Rent the Believer is an amazing movie. It's like guys like my life or how I feel or how even my best friend with Israel defended they're fighting, but he had a face like that. We all did. That's an amazing movie. Couldn't get anyone to watch it in that freaky weirdo Jewish psychoanalytic like cult in the mountains. Like I couldn't get them to watch The Believer. Why? What an amazing film. She's like, you're different from the other ones. She's like, wait, is that why you became a Nazi? So you could talk about Jews all the time and being Jewish and why you're dead? So you became a Nazi so you could talk about Judaism all the time? And he said Hitler, Goebbels, they talked about it incessantly. He says they talked about it incessantly. They talked to Jews all the time. They had a hatred for Jews. It was almost psychotic. And she's like, tell me more about it. And he's telling her why they read the Torah. And she says, wait, I don't understand. Oh no, he's telling them their conception of God and why he became a Nazi. And she's like, wait a minute. You can't make an image of him. You can't name him. You're not allowed to think of him. Then what's the difference between that and like him not existing at all? And he's like, there is no difference. And she said, wait a minute. Like your religion is that you just read the Torah. And you're not allowed to think about why, like, and you just keep reading it. What is going on here is nothing. So yes, they want nothing but nothingness. Nothingness without end. Nothingness without end. And he's like lifting weights, and she's like, "Let's do it. Let's light candles. Like, let's read from the Torah." Like this sort of like just fascist chick who's like a Nazi, like sort of like is like that's really cool. Like there is no like you just it's just that we do because it says we do this in the Torah. Like we have no idea why. Because it says it in writing, like in like we apparently like she and the fascist chick digs it. I mean, what an amazing film! I couldn't get one of those sweaty weirdos to watch it in there. I mean, that's the same like Satan in that could do the Austin Riggs. Whew, nah, they were cool people, but I mean, I'm telling you sort of the gist of the place as far as the doctors, the people were cool. They were just getting massacred. How do I shut this off?